Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager number 736 press-on silicone weather stripping smoke seal. This is in a tan finish, and this is what a package of it looks like. This happens to be a 17-foot roll of it. Will always ship to you in a roll sort of fashion like this. This is available in 17 feet, which would be typical for a 3-foot by 7-foot door, like 7 foot here, plus 7 foot here, and then 3 foot here, so 7 plus 7 and 3, 17 feet. 18 feet would be typical for, which is also available maybe for a 4-foot by 7-foot door. 19 feet, you could certainly get a 3080 out of that. 20 feet, 21 feet, 22 feet, 25 feet, 260-foot length rolls, and then finally 520-foot length rolls. You certainly want to order them. The cost per foot would fall as the roll length increases, so keep that in mind. You know, if you're going to do, 30 doors, order accordingly with the roll length, taking advantage of the longer roll length and then buying smaller packaging after that. Also available in charcoal, which would be a very dark brown, tan, and white are the 3 colors that it's available in. Now, let me pull a little end of it out of the packaging here to show you what the profile looks like. This is a typical and classic teardrop shape, which you can see why it would be called that. That's the tan color. Peel away protective paper on the back, revealing a self-adhesive tape. Very durable tape that's on there. So, press-on silicone smoke seal. Now, why is it a smoke seal? Well, doors that are that bear a requirement to have a smoke control accommodation made on them will require self-adhesive gasketing like this for a smoke control, and where you are going to see that will be certainly doors to hotel rooms is the bottom line. You're going to see it every time in doors like that, which is also considered an S label. So if your door requires an S label, that would be smoke control. This is a slightly smaller teardrop than the standard, meaning that this is 3/8 wide and then 3/16 thick. Now, the standard is 1/2 inch, not the standard, but the more common is 1/2 inch by 1/4 inch. Why you would want something smaller like this? Well, it'll certainly compress down to a smaller sort of thickness, is what it will do. Okay, because it's a smaller material. So if you have a gap that might be a little tighter than average, you might want to go with something smaller. Made of silicone, that will make it quite durable. Add to the frame of a smoke-rated opening to comply with the requirements of UBC 7-2, NFPA 105, and UL 1784 doors. The addition of a smoke seal is necessary to complete installation instructions and to validate the S requirement or the smoke label of the door. UL listed and certified by the Builders Hardware Manufacturers Association. Now, there's a link below this video to a document called Product Brochure where you can review the 736 self-adhesive material along with Hager's other adhesive material in terms of weather stripping that would comply with an S or smoke label sort of requirement. So you see several different profiles from that 2-page product brochure. They're all fairly common. Some just seem to be more common than others based on preference, based on perhaps an understanding of how the product works. The 736 is on page 2 along with its more common 726. The fin designs are very common, very low compression force required for those. The double batwing style is not uncommon either. That's nice because some people like it because it will give you coverage on 2 faces of the door rather than just on the one closing face of the door. It'll give you coverage on the style as well. Frankly, I would prefer 2 planes of coverage rather than just one. There are some edge sealing systems on page 1 that you'll see used in pairs of doors, very common when you've got fire-rated doors. The dimensions for all are given, the available colors for all are given. Very common question, is black available? And it's just not, although that charcoal, while it's not black, is as close to black as you will certainly get. And will probably pass for black anyway, is what I'm trying to say. There is a link also to a document called Product Info, which is a technical reference as it pertains to weather stripping for doors, but more appropriately, how it pertains to fire rating definitions, air infiltration definitions, sound testing definitions. So if you want to approach weather stripping from a bit more technical perspective, hit that document first. There's also a link to a document called Template below this video, which is just a technical drawing of the cross-section of the item. Then finally, there are installation instructions. The balance of this video is going to cover the procedure of installation instructions. They're printed on the back of the card, and I'm also going to call attention to this envelope that's here. So the installation instructions are literally the front and back of the card material that this is packaged with. So page 1 of the installation instructions is not of any concern regarding installation. It's just the front page of this. Step 1 on page 2, pre-cut the jamb and header pieces to fit before installation. Do not install as one continuous piece. Now the reason they want you to do that is you're going to measure your 2 jambs in your head and you're going to cut the pieces. The reason for that is if there is, when you are done installing that particular piece, if it's longer than it should be, there's a mistake. Because inherently, to a novice, or to a beginner I should say, to stretch the material as you're putting it on, you don't ever want to put it on and then press it to stretch it out, because this material, when stretched, it will resume its natural state of elasticity, and it will certainly shrink back and break the adhesive bond to the frame, causing a failure. So if it's too long, that's a tip-off to immediately pull off and put back by applying just straight and significant pressure. Step 2, remove the protective backing 18 to 24 inch at a time while you position the gasketing, keeping adhesive free from foreign substances. Okay, so, well, let's just do that in step 3 at the same time. Apply to the frame in short sections by pressing firmly into place. Do not stretch product during installation. If the pre-cut length is too long, stretching has occurred, remove and reset. 4, if error is made during initial application, resetting is possible. Once installed, apply firm pressure along the entire surface to ensure a perfect bond, or a secure bond. Okay, they jumble all of that together. That works fine. Remove the protective backing, 18 to 24 inch. I like working with shorter sections. Having a lot of it exposed at once gives the ability to unintentionally bump it onto the frame, also to pick up particulate that might be occurring in the air. You're going to want to make sure before you start putting anything on the frame that the frame has been thoroughly cleaned, cured, and we're going to review that when we move on after the installation instructions, which actually should be done first. But before you put anything on, the frame must be utterly clean and free of debris, dust. Clean it. And after you think you've got it clean it one more time. It's that important. I've installed this material even when I thought the frame was clean, which it ended up not being very clean. It will fail. The next day you'll come to the job site and it will be detached. Moving on to the best results before we resume installation discussion. The frame has to be room temperature, and the degree range is posted there. If the frame has been painted, the paint must be cured for at least 7 days, because if the paint is wet underneath the outside surface of the paint, it's going to cause adhesion problems. If you're putting it onto a wood frame, the surface must be sealed prior to the application of the press-on product. You don't want to try to seal around that material. Plus also you might take, if you're working with a high gloss painted surface or whether it be metal or steel, or pardon me, metal or wood, you might want to use a Scotch-Brite pad to rough that up to give some surface area. making sure that it's free of dust and debris. And then back to the installation instructions. Short sections, I like to be able to control it, pressing it on. That mystery envelope that's in there, back to the installation, is an alcohol pad. Use that at the final end. Make sure that that dries before you install. That will help ensure that you have a dust-free, clean surface to put the material onto. All right, shorter sections, I like to be able to control how straight the material goes on. That frame is just full of straight lines, isn't it? So if you're wavy in your installation, it'll look terrible, is the bottom line. Apply to the frame in short sections. This is step 3, by pressing firmly into place. Do not stretch the product during installation. We discussed that. If an error is made, resetting is possible. Do it immediately. Pulling it off more than once is a recipe for it to fail. Once installed, apply firm pressure along the entire surface of the product to secure the bond. You want to be liberal with the pressure and the time that you're doing that. I like to have significant pressure for 45 seconds or so. Get it set so that it doesn't move on you, then come back and just push, 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 make it very secure. And if you do that, the material will be outrageously effective in terms of staying right where it's supposed to stay. There's a diagram lower left of page 2 that shows you where it is applied. It's not applied in the same spot. On the hinge jamb, you'll put it onto the rabbet, and then on the latch, on the strike jamb, and on the header, you're going to put it onto the stop face. And if you think about how the door would work, it would really have to be that way. If you applied it to the rabbet on all the sides, it would fail on the head and the strike side. And if you put it on the stop face on the hinge side, you're going to have the door constantly pulling it off as well. Okay. So this material is going to be not only used when you're doing a S or a smoke requirement on a door, but it's also very effective in just general applications. I've installed this material in situations where I simply wanted to augment existing weather stripping because I knew and I know that this material will help retard the transmission of dust, debris, sound to a certain extent. It's inexpensive, it's easy to install, and it is effective and can be a part of a successful installation. A place where you can use this would be everything from helping weather seal a truck cap onto the body of a pickup truck, all the way to a door that separates a shop from a showroom. And during shop hours, you've got sound, you've got debris. When the back door opens in the summer, the front door gets open, that dust and debris will move from space to space. This material is, you will see just after a couple of weeks visually how effective it is just helping, and so much so that you'll even think to yourself, gosh, I should run a second line down the frame if I can. It's that effective. Okay, very good quality material. Now, finally, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Hager products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, along with a link to the Hager product catalog that will allow you to review all things Hager. Hager's namesake, Hager Hinge. Yes, they're first and foremost, at least for me, a hinge company. Everything as it pertains to commercial and residential hinges. Aluminum continuous geared hinges under the Roton name. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Obviously hinges, door closers, lock sets, exit devices, electrified hardware, trim and auxiliary hardware, obviously weather stripping, miscellaneous hardware like filler plates for use on steel and doors and steel frames, sliding door material, bypass, bifold, pocket, sliding doors is all under the umbrella of the Hager name. They make everything for the opening except the door and frame itself, and they're likely working on that as well. If you have any questions on a Hager number 736 in a tan, press-on style, silicone-based, smoke-compliant weather stripping, or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.